Guys, welcome back to the Nurturing Leadership podcast. This is my second attempt. I recorded the episode, and the mic I wasn't close enough to the mic, so that's why I've shoved it up right next to my mouth. So I hope you can hear me really clearly on this one. I will test it before I publish it. But welcome back to Nurturing Leadership. I hope you've had a great week. I hope you've had a good time going to work, being led, doing the leading. You're inspiring people, and I've got to open up to you guys though, because last week I did a episode on trust and oxytocin. I really wasn't happy with the episode. I've not re-recorded it, but I'm not happy with it because I just felt like I was going over and over and over again. I kind of went over things. I wasn't happy with the way I spoke, but I've kept it because I'm okay with that. I'm okay with making that mistake, and I'm not just saying it. I genuinely wasn't happy with it. I don't know. Just didn't feel good. I'm still getting used to all of this stuff, and I know I keep rambling on about it, but I'm not used to looking at the screen for those who are watching and speaking in a mic for those who are hearing and just listening to Apple, where it's just audio. But anyway. But yes, trust and oxytocin was last week. Please go back to the other episodes of the Neuroscience series to help make sense of all of this and why we're doing it. But this week, I'm really excited about this one because this week it's all about neuroplasticity. And if you don't know what that is, it's something I've really been passionate about and really interested in over the last year. But it's about it's the brain's ability to adapt and change throughout life, and it's known as plasticity. I struggle to say it, but there we go. This concept, can encourage continuous learning and lead us to adapt to this leverage and use this as leverage, in the continuous learning and development within themselves, but also how they lead and maybe pass on to the people they're supposed to or want to inspire every day, promoting agility and growth. Anyway, I've said this over once already, but I'm going to try my best to cover the points that I did before as well. But yeah, we're going to go through some of the things we've done before, but more with the lens of neuroplasticity. So please enjoy. I do find it fascinating. I'm interested. You can see by the books that I've got on my shelves about neuroplasticity, the brain, and understanding, our superpower of our brain, what our brains have, basically. I always like to imagine the brain as like the dynamic. I've started to, never used to, but that ever-changing, playground of connections and constantly adapting to, we have to adapt to new experiences and challenges because we're living in a world where everything changes constantly. Neuroplasticity is the brain's incredible ability to recognize and reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. They're the pathways in the brain and forming the connections. It's like your brain doing like a little dance every time you learn something new or tackle a fresh challenge. Think of it as a renovation project for your mind. I learned in talking about moving. I learned in the Jim Quick book there, Limitless. He has a quote by saying, when the brain moves, the brain grooves. Learning something new, the brain wants to take it in. And when it does learn something new, it's moving. And it starts to groove. It's happy, basically. Because back in the day, scientists believed that our brains were kind of stuck in a stone after a certain age. Here, when you're 28 for men, fully formed, and 24 for women, give or take, obviously. But there's a game changer. Neuroplasticity tells us just that. It's like your brain saying, I've not done evolving yet. I've got some tricks still up my sleeve. But, when you learn that new skill, say, I don't know, playing the guitar or learning a new language, or your brain cells or neurons engage in a living tango, going back to that little dance thing. They form new connections, strengthening the pathways related to that particular skill. It's the brain saying, hey, I need to do more efficient. I need to be more efficient at this. They love it, absolutely love it. So let's remodel a little bit. We can acquire new skills all the time, but neuroplasticity comes into play during recovery. It can, come into when we recover from injuries or adapting to challenges. It can be part of your brain. Part of your brain can be injured. But the neighboring areas can step up and take on new responsibilities. It's like a backup team ready to jump in when it's needed. So, the cool part is, though, you can actually harness the power of neuroplasticity in your everyday life, not just leaders, but anybody. I will refer to leaders and general people, but, do you want to improve your memory? Memory is not something you do, it's something you have. Completely got that the wrong way around. It's not a noun, it's a verb. It's not something you have, it's something you do. When people say, "Oh, I have a bad memory," I've said it a million times. What I've learned through the reading and studying about it is it's not something you have. It's not something you can train. You don't have a bad memory. You just have an untrained memory. You can train it, and I've noticed the difference in me just being conscious about it, I suppose. If you challenge your brain with puzzles, learn a new dance move, or tackle up a new musical instrument, your brain will respond with a resounding challenge accepted. It's a bit like going to the gym, but for your brain. The more you exercise it with new experiences and challenges, the stronger and more adaptable it becomes. It's like giving your brain a workout routine that includes squats for your memory, lunges for creativity, and sprints for problem solving. So next time you think, I'm too old to learn something new, remember, neuroplasticity is your brain's way of saying age is just a number. And I'm always up for a good challenge. That's how I like to think it anyway. Embrace the power of change and, keep learning, keep adapting, let your brain dance of neuroplasticity and let it lead to new horizons. Your mind is a limitless playground waiting to be explored. So I suppose, when we go into the leadership side of things, let's look at the, I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. Maybe I'm shouting too high. I don't know. We can look at, like leaders have to find themselves through, navigating uncharted waters, facing new challenges and operating ever-changing environments. But they don't have to fear, the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself, again, known as that long word, what I always get wrong, neuroplasticity. It's your secret weapon for staying effective and relevant, I suppose. So picture this, you're a leader facing a challenge that requires a skill you've never mastered. Neuroplasticity steps in as your ally, your friend, enabling your brain to forge new connections, enhancing your cognitive flexibility and allowing you to grasp and apply that new skill. It's like a mental gym workout, as I mentioned before, for your leadership prowess. Proudness. I was thinking being proud then for a minute. Adaptation is that it is the name of the game, I suppose. It's I suppose the way to look at it is like a seasoned athlete hones in their skills through constant training. Leaders can harness neuroplasticity to continuously refine their own abilities. This isn't just about surviving, getting through the day. It's about thriving in the face of change. So let's break it down. Neuroplasticity empowers leaders to reshape their thinking patterns, break free from old habits, and embrace innovation. Rewiring your brain to thrive in dynamic landscapes of leadership. That's, what I think it's about. So the next time you find yourself, I suppose, I keep saying suppose as well, in an uncharted territory at work, just remember your brain is a powerhouse of adaptability. With neuroplasticity, you can lead with confidence and competence. So, let this concept be your guiding light in your daily life at work. Embrace the change, cultivate a curious mind, and remember, the most effective leaders are the ones who never stop learning. Last week we focused on emotional intelligence. Now I kind of want to look at the same thing, emotional intelligence, but with the lens of neuroplasticity within leadership. It is a spotlight that has increasingly, I suppose, shifted towards the crucial, in a crucial role. We've shifted towards emotional intelligence in a lot of things, especially leadership now. This is a key trait. It's a linchpin of ineffective leadership. It relies on remarkable capacity of the brain to adapt and rewire itself. Leaders, in the pursuit of excellence, can actively harness neuroplasticity to foster and enhance core components of emotional intelligence. We've got empathy, we've got compassion, we've got self-awareness and interpersonal skills. Everyone talks about empathy, but the other week we dissected the difference between empathy and compassion. So, at the heart of this transformative journey, it lies the understanding that the brain is malleable and can undergo structural changes in response to experiences and intentional efforts. By embracing neuroplasticity, leaders embark on a dynamic path to reshape their cognitive landscape. The pivotal aspect of the process is the cultivation of self-awareness, where people can delve into an introspective exploration. Remember that word, introspective, of their emotions, reaction, and triggers. Through this heightened self-awareness, leaders lay the groundwork for emotional intelligence, creating a solid foundation upon, perspective, empathy, the things I mentioned earlier, and let these, thrive and flourish, I suppose. Empathy and compassion is, it's key. It can be so effective, especially when it comes to leadership. Well, everyday life, I suppose, but it becomes pronounced as a neural pathway associated with understanding and sharing the emotions of others, and they'll be strengthened. It'll be strengthened. Leaders who actively engage in empathetic practices stimulate neural connections that foster a deeper connection with the team members and stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, the people around them, their leaders, the people that are involved in the organization somehow. So, the cultivation of interpersonal skills become a tangible outcome, intentional neural changes. Neuroplasticity allows leaders to adapt their communication styles, collaborate more effectively, and navigate complex social dynamics, which is inevitable, isn't it? The brain's ability to forge new synaptic connections, the neural pathways, that's one of the three of neuroplasticity, synapses connections, connecting them all, neural pathways together. Neurogenesis, the development of embryonic brain cells, new pathways from birth, and myelination. When you've developed a skill, you myelinate it with a fatty substance around the neural pathway. And that I want to reference one of my favorite books, Dr. Tara Swart, the Source. I've absolutely loved learning from her over the last year and a half. Love her to be on my podcast of leading her away. Her own journey is absolutely incredible as well. She's half agreed. Well, she communicated with me anyway, so you never know. Might get her on there. But yeah, read that book to go a little bit deeper about those three things, about the three grounds of neuroplasticity. But yeah, the synaptic connections empowers leaders to build. When we forge them, it empowers the leaders to build and maintain meaningful relationships, fostering that positive and collaborative organizational culture. So, the intersection of neuroplasticity and emotional intelligence offers leaders an exciting avenue for personal and professional growth. By embracing the ongoing nature and neural changes, leaders can unlock their full potential, transforming not only their capacity for empathy and compassion, self-awareness, and interpersonal skills, but also shaping a workplace culture that thrives on emotional intelligence. So in the dynamic journey, leaders can become architects of their own cognitive evolution, paving the way for resilience and emotionally intelligent leadership. And that goes nicely into resilience, because leadership is a journey with challenges, and we'll go into that conflicts a little bit deeper. But effective leaders and people possess a powerful tool called resilience, and we've got to learn to access that better. It's the ability to bounce back from setbacks. It's like having a mental trampoline that helps you rise after you fall over. Picture your brain as a dynamic of the networks of pathways. Enter the neuroplasticity and the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself, as mentioned before. So when I say that again because in the face of adversity, leaders with resilient minds use that to their advantage. They literally reshape the neural pathways linked to stress and coping strategies. And next episode is actually going to be more a little bit about stress management as well. But leaders, rebuild and build a robust stress management system within inside it. So effective leadership is not, it doesn't have to be just about a title and, I'm in charge and I run the ship. It's or making decisions. It's about cultivating, resilience through neuroplasticity. It's that secret ingredient that allows leaders to spring back, adapt, and thrive in the face of anything that they might have to face on a daily basis. I suppose it's like a superhero with an invisible shield. Resilient leaders can use that neuroplasticity approach to rewrite their story and conquer the leadership adventure, I suppose. Decision making. How does this relate to decision making? Well, think of a decision making as a complex maze, right? And you've got maze and you have decisions to make of which direction to go when you're walking through that maze. With neuroplasticity, can't say it. I'm saying it a lot, neuroplasticity. Your brain becomes like a savvy navigator, enhancing its flexibility. This means you're not just stuck with just one route through the maze, because if you did, you'd just be doing the same path every day, but other obstacles might face you. You can explore, you can explore, but you'll have to explore the multiple paths. Leaders benefit from this because, it allows them to consider various perspectives and approaches when tackling tricky problems. Imagine another way of looking at it is, imagine you're on a ship, you're a captain of it. You're not just steering the rigid course. Instead, you adjust your sails when the wind changes. You change direction and you navigate through stormy seas with ease, or easier, or avoid the storms altogether in some cases. So I suppose this flexibility helps leaders make better decisions and embracing diverse viewpoints, which, happens every single day. And it's about adapting to those unexpected changes. So, in a nutshell, neuroplasticity is like a secret weapon for decision makers. And it can empower us to be agile thinkers, effortlessly weaving through the intricate tapestry of choices. So next time you think you face a tough decision, remember your brain is a dynamic powerhouse, as I mentioned before. Embrace the change and chart the course to success. And keep those firing and wiring is another quote that I get from Jim Quick and Limitless. Firing and wiring. Building those neural connections, and when they fire, they wire. And I suppose you can make some good, happy decisions. Creativity. We've looked at creativity and innovation before as well. It's our minds adapt and grow. So I like this one so imagine like your brain's a garden. It can look like a garden, especially on the scans. I've looked at colourful scans, and it's amazing. Like when serotonin is released, how when a parent's happy, you can tell it's happy. It's weird. Have a look at it. Google it. It's fascinating. Imagine it's a garden. So neurons as seeds waiting to sprout into new ideas. Leaders who understand the importance of cultivating a garden can sow the seeds of creativity and innovation. We live in a really rapid world right now. So competition is fierce and challenges are dynamic. The mindset, becomes the key to unlocking success. So think of it this way, like when you plant the seeds, you need the right nutrients to thrive, and our brains are the same thing. They need stimulation, they need challenges to flourish. When we actively seek out new experiences, we can tackle unfamiliar problems and embrace change. We're essentially watering and fertilizing our mental garden. For me, that really stuck with me when I first heard it. There was a nice way of kind of understanding it. So, when we can prioritize the brain plasticity within leaders within their teams, create an environment where diverse ideas can bloom. The flowers of the color of the flowers are coming out. They encourage continuous learning. They celebrate curiosity. They foster a culture that values experimentation, and not presenting a problem with failing. Go for it. It's not a problem. It enhances individual capabilities, but also propels the entire organization towards growth and good, healthy, competitive nature. So let's commit to being leaders, not only navigating changes, but embrace it once again. By nurturing our brain's plasticity, we're not just adapting to the future, we're actively shaping it. So let's sow the seeds of innovation and ensuring that our organizations not only survive, but they thrive in the ever, the landscape that's just constantly changing at the moment. And, we did speak on conflict, and it is a natural part of life, and we face it at different points. It's inevitable, and we need to prepare for that. It's going to come at some point, and it's about how we put space between it and how we react. We'll face it at different points. So, whether it's at home, in the workplace, or among friends, conflicts are, they're damn challenging. But I don't think we nearly, to be fair, I used to really struggle with that. But I feel like some of the things I've put into place in my own life, I'm able to let it run off my back a little bit more. And that's not meaning I don't care. It's just that I'm able to handle it so much better mentally. So let's, developing conflict resolution skills, involves rewiring our neural pathways again, specifically those linked to communication, empathy, and compassion. Our brains are remarkable organs, constantly adapting and changing. So when it comes to conflict, our initial reactions may be rooted to stress and defense mechanisms, because 8 out of the survival modes. Again, I got it out of this book, but 5 out of the 8 survival emotions. What's the word? Yeah, the survival emotions. So there's 8 of them, but there's 5 of them that are perceived as the negative side. I don't believe they're negative. I don't think we have positive and negatives, because we're all essential. They're all survival, part of survival. We need them all to be able to survive. We need to know how to react, whether it's running and disgust. We need to learn from that. We need to be able to go through those. I forgot where I was at now. I kind of went off on myself. But yeah, they're always rooted to, that depressive side, the defense mechanism. But by consciously, rewiring those neural pathways, we can change how we respond to conflicts. Sorry, I thought my dog was moving then. Oh, my little girl was coming out. But, one key aspect of conflict resolution is it's effective communication. Instead of just letting our brains default to defense modes, we can train ourselves to listen actively and express our thoughts clearly. This not only helps in understanding different perspectives, but also paves the way of constructive dialogue. We could talk about empathy and compassion. It is a superpower, especially when it comes to conflict resolution. By rewiring the brain to empathize with others, we can create a deeper understanding of their feelings and viewpoints. This helps break down the barriers, creating and fostering an environment where conflict can be resolved collaboratively and calmly. Put space between it. Chill for a minute. We can relax. You're in a good state. You probably will find yourself not being reactive as much. So how do we go about rewiring this process, though? It's not it doesn't have to be complicated as it sounds, because it does. But when you practice active listening, really tuning into what others are saying, just put yourself in their shoes sometimes. And next time, imagine their perspectives. This simple act can have profound impacts on how we approach conflicts and resolve them as well. Imagine a workplace disagreement. By rewiring their communication pathways, leaders transformed a heated argument into a brainstorming session, finding innovative solutions that benefit everyone involved. It's important to remember that when developing conflict resolution skills, it is a journey. It is a journey. It's not a destination. We'll constantly have to do it. But putting yourself in a good position, a good mindset, will continue that. It won't ever stop. It takes time and practice. So don't be too hard on yourself. I've been really hard on myself in the past, and I feel like I've changed that. But celebrate the small victories along the way. That's really important. Remember that every effort you make in rewiring your brain for constructive conflict resolution brings positive change in all the lives. So let's commit to rewiring again of the pathways for better communication, empathy, and compassion. We really empower ourselves to navigate conflicts constructively. Let's create healthier and more harmonious relationships, whether that's at home, whether it's your family, your friends, or at work. I wanted to share with you a powerful concept. I'm really passionate about it, like I mentioned. It has that potential to transform not only our leadership styles, but also our entire approach to personal and professional growth. Neuroplasticity, it is an incredible ability for our brains to adapt and change throughout our lives. It's really changed how I live my life on a daily basis. I set myself up every morning. I've broken it a couple of times to really test it, and I've noticed the difference in me being present and how I think. I jump into cold water, do breath work. I think it's that personal. It set me up beautifully. I go back to imagining my brain being dynamic, and it's ever evolving. It can be molded, it can be refined. I think if people are actively engaged in neuroplasticity exercises, like mindfulness or deliberate practice for deliberate practice, essentially you're sculpting your brains to become more effective and inspirational people, leaders, whatever you may do. Mindfulness, with its focus on the present moment, enhances our self-awareness and emotional intelligence. It allows leaders to make more thoughtful decisions, fostering that positive and collaborative work environment. I think if we're deliberate about what we do, it involves being intentional, focused efforts to growth, to improve specific skills and constant learning. We'll refine our abilities and our skills and setting the stage for ongoing success. I like what I do every morning because it really does set me up for the day. I do think I changed it very small, 1% changes every day, and it didn't feel like a big change, and then it became quite normalized. So my habits changed, my brain was changing. I mix it up so my brain doesn't get used to one thing. I don't know. So I've really embarked on it, I suppose, on that journey of neuroplasticity. Let's remember it's never perfection. It's just progress all the time. It really is. So I incorporate these exercises in my daily life. I feel like I've created a ripple effect within a positive change. It's not only within myself, but it's also within our my work ethic, my teams that I'm a part of on a daily basis. It's really good. So embrace the power of neuroplasticity. Plasticity. Unlock it. Unlock the full potential as a leader, as a person, and inspire those around us to do the same thing as well. It's not for everybody. It is for everybody, I suppose, but it's about how you do it. That's different for everybody, of course. But I think we can definitely grow. We can be more resilient by challenging that and excellence in our shared pursuit of success. So in essence, neuroplasticity empowers leaders and people to continue to evolve, learn, adapt, enhance their leadership skills, their individual skills, being a dad, a mum, sister, whatever it may be, a good friend, and overall effectiveness is in a dynamic and evolving world that we live in. We're creating jobs for people. We're probably teaching our children, and then the jobs are not invented yet or created yet, the types of roles they're going to. So we have to prepare them. And I think one way of doing it is giving them the skills to be able to rewire the brain at any point in their life, Anyway, we could go a lot deeper. I encourage you to read books on it. I'm fascinated by it. I'm just going to look at my notes. Let me bring up my notes and see what we're going to discuss next week. I think next week, we're going to look at stress management, chronic stress in the workplace and how it can impair cognitive function. So stress management in the neuroscience lens, sorry. So that I'm excited about that one. That will be a good one. I'm quite interested in that. I feel like I've conquered some things I probably used to get stressed over really easy. I hope you got something from today. Maybe just challenge the thinking on it. Just go and read up on it. Have a scan, watch some YouTube videos. I've done a lot on that too. It's fascinating. But anyway, have a good week. And I hope you tune back in next week for Nurturing Leadership. Remember to follow, subscribe, whatever it is that you do. Please go to leadingourOwnWay.com. That's going to launch in March. That's probably about a month away from me now, but in a couple of weeks, whenever you watch this, probably only a couple of weeks away. But really excited for you guys to hear those stories of those amazing people who have pulled themselves for adversity and trauma. Fascinating. Anyway, have a great week. Go and do your thing all week. Have a great week and look after yourselves.
Thank you for tuning into our Nurturing Leadership podcast, where we delve into the art of compassionate guidance and fostering growth. Your continued support is invaluable to us, so please subscribe and follow us on all your favourite platforms. We are currently on Spotify, Apple and YouTube. Remember, great leadership starts with nurturing. Nurturing leadership creates lasting impact. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes filled with insightful discussions. We appreciate you joining on this journey. Thank you for listening.